Amboy, they announced that they will be joining the NUIC. They're leaving the Three Rivers Conference, which is over by, of course, the Mississippi River, but they replaced South Beloit, so that was in the making because that happened a couple of weeks ago. And we were talking about the NUIC before we came on. That's kind of a spread-out conference. You got
it really is, yeah.
And they do that for scheduling purposes to keep it out. But then you also got Dakota, Forreston, stuff like that. Yep. So it's interesting, and that's all because of the shuffle going on. There's more shuffling going on because there's a super conference for football only being down in the suburbs. The mid-suburban conference and the central suburban conference be like 26, 24 teams.
Yeah.
They're thinking about doing that because of the scheduling. They got big school, small school because they're having problems. Hoffman Estates is not happy at all in that mid-suburban.
Right.
So they're trying to keep everybody in the same boat.
I'm surprised that schools just haven't gone to more football-only conferences.
I think I think they're finally stepping out of the box because before we got to do it like the 60s and the 70s. We can't be having two or three different things.
Yeah.
It needs to happen.
Well, it makes sense, because for every other sport, the size of the school doesn't seem to matter as much. It's not to say, I don't think that necessarily the 1A champion in basketball could beat the 4A champion, but there's a chance to compete because you only need 5 players. Baseball, you only need 9 out there. Volleyball, what is it, 6 that are out there, 7 or whatever. So you can compete at a better level, at least, within a conference, even if there is some disparity in the school sizes. Football's the one sport where it makes a difference. If you got a small school in football, you're going to be lucky if you have 30, 35 kids out there.
Even the big schools have a hard time doing that.
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, some of the big schools have problems with that too. But you look at just in our area, Harlem or a Hononegah, or even Boylan, they got 50, 60, 70 kids on the sideline.
Yep.
And it's not just that they're good, but you got all that depth there and whatnot. Whereas at a smaller school, that maybe only has 30, 35 kids, 1 or 2 injuries can hurt you.
And they go both ways, too. So when you lose one player, you lose 2 positions that way.
Exactly. So. I mean, we see the difference in the NIC 10 just with, you look at the Belvedere's or Freeport, as compared to some of the bigger schools.
When their numbers went down.
Yeah, exactly. And they struggle some with that. Who was it in the NIC 10 that had just some really low numbers this year?
Belvedere did a few years ago.
Right? I remember somebody, though, had some really low number. I remember one game being it, and somebody only had maybe 26, 27 kids out there.
Not many.
And then I remember going to see Forreston play, and I think they had, almost 40 kids on there. I'm like, man, this little 1A school has more kids than this.
Of course, they had pretty good luck here lately.
Yeah, well,
not luck. They've been playing well.
And, you get those small communities, though, but they're really, those kids grow up, playing football.
It's a different atmosphere.
That's for sure, but that's a different story. But I'm surprised more schools haven't gone to just football only, saying, okay, the all of us that are close together here, we can compete in all these other sports. Let's separate for football. We won't be a conference for football, and we can find some other schools that are like us and compete that way.
See, the state should enhance that and produce it. Say, we will help you if you do that. That takes care of worrying about districts. And also, that's the same thing with Aurora Christian. They joined the Northeastern Conference, but they're not playing in football. They're staying in a football league where they'll be very competitive.
Yep.
And because I think they wouldn't have any problem in the Northeastern Athletic Conference on football.
They would probably run through the conference.
But now they found a place to stay for everything else, which is a big thing. And I think schools are a little bit more, maybe 2000-ish.
Yeah.
Instead of 1950-ish.
Yeah. I think it would go a long way if everybody would just sit down and kind of think about those things for a second.
You got a superintendent, you got a principal, you got an AD. You can't even get them to agree on something at their own school sometimes.
Right. But yeah.
I'll probably get in trouble for saying that, but that's the truth.
I think you would see less conference movement, though, if you'd see more schools just go to football only. Because like I said, they're not moving because of their basketball team or because of the track program or volleyball or whatever the case may be. They're not moving because of that.
Because sometimes they lose those big rivalries, which bring in a lot of money for basketball.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, and that's the thing is, these other sports can generate some revenue. If you can keep some of those natural rivalries and things like that, but you lose those, and what happens?
Yeah.
Nobody gets excited to play the team that's, 20 miles away, as they would for the team that was, 2 miles away before. that kind of stuff. And, so I think it'd be good if you could see more people maybe think outside of the box like that and say, let's just find a place for football, and we'll leave everything else right where it's at.
The Northeastern Athletic Conference is one of those conferences that was just trying to survive, trying to keep members, trying to get a good mix. So they're more open to that.
Right.
Where a conference like the NIC 10, God bless them.
Yeah.
I mean, they got it made. 9 football games. They're all real close. Freeport makes the longest trips, of course.
Right.
And that's a long trip for anybody in the NIC 10. But they don't have to make those adjustments. Northeastern says, hey, if you want to go play football somewhere else, Aurora Christian,
right,
you come on over for everything else and
right,
that type of thing.
Right. But credit to them, too, because, it's some of that's on the conferences, though, too, because some of them, get their feelings hurt and say, well, if you want to leave for football, you can just leave for everything else. And,
you got to throw the personal out, and the people don't do that.
Exactly. Yeah. So, I think, as much as it's on the schools, it's on the conferences, too, to be able to say, you know what, okay, that's fine. You can leave for football. We understand, but we'd like to still have you for everything else.
I was telling Coach Ambrosio before he came on the air, the couple days before he came on, I said, more schools means more problems.
Yeah.
The more you get, there's going to be more problems because you're trying to keep everybody happy.
And when you can't, that's just impossible to do.
But it's secretive. I mean, he wouldn't even tell us who was
right.
in them.
Right.
You'd ask any school when they're doing that with conference stuff. It's kind of like, I'm not going to tell you.
Right.
We have to wait for the school board minutes to come out and stuff. So.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's for sure, the way that all plays out.
So we'll have to keep an eye on that mid-suburban, central suburban, because that's a wide spread. That's like the whole suburbs all over the place, from Niles to Schaumburg.
Right.
Be interesting to see what happens on that.
Yeah. And, it'll be interesting to see if they ever do something like that around here. Maybe with some of those Fox Valley schools.
Yeah, I'll let you be in charge of that one.
Yeah.
Hey, we want to try something. You want to do that?
There might come a point, though, it makes sense to do.
Yeah, well, making sense is not the problem.
Well, right.
We're going to take a time out. We'll be back with more of the Stateline Sports Hour in just a moment here on News Talk 1440 WROK.